All right, we are back with another Pick'em video. It is Friday, April 18th. We have two winner go home games. Super excited about watching them, but obviously super excited about, getting some plays down and getting some smart plays down. So that's what we're going to get into for today. If that sounds cool, definitely go ahead and leave the video a like, comment something down below, and of course subscribe if you are new, especially if you enjoy the content. So let's hop into the recap of last video, then we'll get into the injury news, potential minutes and things like that, where I think the lineups are going to look like, and then we'll actually start talking about some plays, and at the end of this, we'll recap all the plays that I'm officially going to. All right, so jumping into the recap of last video, that was for the games on April 16th. It was two blowout games, unfortunately. I think we did have some good reads in there. A lot of the reads that we talked about in the video didn't even show up in the official plays, but there were some other plays that I went to. We talked about Josh Giddey grabbing some rebounds. We talked about, fading Patrick Williams. He did literally nothing. We talked about Davion Mitchell playing big minutes. He's very much an Eric Spoelstra guy. We'll talk about him today's video. But for the official video picks, we did miss on Vucevic. He, I think, ended with like 29. Again, the blowout situation doesn't help there. I know they play a lot of minutes, but at the same time, if you're down 20, it looks a whole lot different than if you're, close and there's some sort of thing to play for here. Tyler Hero did get over. He absolutely crushed his line, so great read there. Zach LaVine over his 28 points and assists. He did creep over there for us. Trey Lyles, 11.5 points and rebounds. Yeah, he had 11 for so long, and he played 19 or something minutes, 20 minutes. I was expecting 25 or so we lost out on like 6 or 7 minutes there. Blowout didn't help that either. And then Max Christie, bad read. Literally, I talked about the entire video of how some players that aren't as established and aren't as veteran, have the veteranship and have the experience is the word I'm looking for, might lose minutes, and he did not play much at all, and he did not play well when he played. So that was a recap 2 and 3 day. Going to try to do better than that today, of course, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch of plays. So let's actually talk about the games going into RotoWire, what we got going on for minutes and things like that. So for Miami and Atlanta, this is going to be, definitely for the bench guys, going to be dependent on who's going to be playing and available. Jovic, Larson, Kevin Love, all game time decisions. None of them played last game. We'll see if any of them come back today. But you'll see the main guy off the bench is going to be Davion Mitchell. He's a very much an Eric Spoelstra player. He's going to get a lot of minutes in this game, and he's going to get the Trae Young assignment. So hopefully he doesn't get into foul trouble. If he doesn't, he's definitely a guy we can look at in this matchup. The big minutes guys are going to be Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. Andrew Wiggins played a decent amount of minutes and played pretty well in the game 2 days ago. And then guys like Kel'el Ware, Alec Burks, they're going to be dependent on their matchups and who the Hawks are going to be throwing out there. But Ware does have a low rebound line, probably not going to get a ton of minutes, but he could absolutely grab some rebounds in a hurry in this matchup. Alec Burks projected for 13 minutes. It's going to be dependent on his play when he starts this game. But again, don't be afraid to look at guys like Kyle Anderson, Duncan Robinson, especially if these guys are playing well off the bench. Haywood Highsmith did not play. He was like one of the only players that didn't play very well in the first game in the play-in tournament for them. But at the same time, he's torched these guys every single time he's played them in like the 3 matchups so far. So that's Miami side of things. We are going to start looking at the player props when we go into, I'm already looking at Haywood Highsmith when we go into Props Madness, but I want to look at the Atlanta Hawks first. We got Trae Young, probable. He's always probable. He'll be ready to go and play a million minutes. Projected for 40 minutes. Dyson Daniels, Okongwu, all projected for a lot of minutes here. Zachary Ricochet played 29 minutes in the game, the first game in the play-in. I expect him to kind of play a little bit less. I think I'm going to talk about a play where Karis LeVert actually jumps him in minutes, and they might need his, veteranship as opposed to a young guy that's coming in here trying to make his way in the league. He played pretty well, actually, in the first game. Karis LeVert, in terms of the plus-minus, was not very good. But at the same time, Karis LeVert's been around around here more, and he's going to have a little bit more experience, and they might rely on that, especially a nice scorer off the bench and in the lineup if they need him. Mo Gay projected for 21 minutes. He was actually one of the only guys that had a positive plus-minus in the last game against the Magic. So he can be someone that doesn't play much at all, or someone that gets his 20 minutes as projected right now. I'm not going to touch Mo Gay. He's too inconsistent for me. Sometimes he scores 10 points in the first quarter. Sometimes he doesn't do anything for the entire game pretty much. George Niang, another guy that I think will get decent minutes, especially against the Heat here. Playoff type guy, gets under people's skin, comes in there sometimes for a technical foul. But again, he can hit some shots, especially if he's on the court for a little bit. I hate him personally, just as a Celtics fan. He's annoyed me many times watching games, but at the same time, he is a playoff type player. And then you got Terrence Mann, V. Krejci, and Barlow, who played pretty well in his limited time last game. Again, the blowout skews a lot of these things. But again, if some of these guys are playing well off the bench, you could see a little bit more minutes from them. So now let's hop into Props Madness like we always do. We use this tool every single video. It is the best player prop tool out there for NBA and WNBA. If you want to check it out, if you're watching this video, you're like, damn, I got to try this thing out, use my link in the description down below. It's code RICH. When you do that, you get the 7-day free trial and you get 25% off your first month or your first year. And yes, super excited to use this for WNBA as well to give us the edge. Maybe a sport we don't know as much about, but we can read some data and learn a little bit along the way. So I'm going to be starting off with pretty much, I'm going to start with Trae Young, but I'm going to go through pretty much every player, at least touch on every guy here. Chill. But if you're wondering why is this guy blabbing around, where are the picks, I'm going to talk about pretty much every player. Hope that gives you guys as much value as possible. And then at the end of this, I will, specifically say these are the ones I'm going to, but I want to give you guys all the tools to maybe bet on some other guys if you do see some value throughout the day. So starting with Trae Young, someone I'm not betting on today, I'd probably lean towards its under on points, but at the same time, I don't want to bet an under on a guy that's going to play 40-plus minutes. He's a really tough matchup to score the points. We actually went to his under in all 3 of these games throughout the season. Luckily, I didn't touch him in this game because he had 29 and 12 assists or something. Yeah. But at the same time, his assists could be there. If they're going to lock down Trae Young, there are potential for more opportunities for him to get some assists to some open guys. So for Trae Young, I'm not going to be touching him. Maybe lean towards the under on his points, but at the same time, I'm not really going to fade a guy that's going to play that much time on the court. Then when you got Onyeka Okongwu, another guy that I'm potentially looking to fade here. Now his points line, honestly, all of his lines are pretty much right where they should be. He's got a difficult matchup to score the points in terms of the pick and roll big man. Interiorly, they're very mediocre down low, but they got to deal with Bam Adebayo in the playoffs. Kel'el Ware's a big guy down there as well. Head-to-head, he went over in 2 of the 3 games, but was right around this line. Again, one of the reasons I'm not really looking at it is because I think it's set pretty perfectly. Minus 118, minus 112, right at 14.5. That seems right about right. His rebounds line is something I was consider fading just because he's got a tough matchup to rebound the ball and has not rebounded well against this team in all 3 matchups that he's played. 34 minutes, 32 minutes, 29 minutes. So it's not like he was like in a game that he wasn't playing very much. He's probably going to get 36 plus minutes, projected for around 36 minutes today. Played 33 minutes in a 25-point loss against the Magic. So again, right around 36 minutes, what we're expecting. And if he's going to get 35 plus minutes in a close game here, his rebounding is looking really good in terms of the over. So was considering the under after I see the minutes he's going to play. Probably going to fade that one as well. Then I move to Dyson Daniels, 13.5 points. That's the line probably right where it should be. 60% hit rate for similar types of players are going over the lines, but he's got a tough matchup here. Transition, spot up. He has not had amazing games in terms of scoring against these 2 players, but again, going to get a lot of time in the court. Nothing I'm too fond about right there. Rebounds and assists is a little bit more enticing to me just because he's what he's done the last 3 games. This was somewhat of a wagon when it was at like 10.5 or even 9.5, right when he started getting big minutes on this Atlanta Hawks team. But he's going to get as much time as he can handle, projected for 33 minutes in this game. So going to minutes, going to like 35 plus minutes. He's only over this in 48% of games. You take out Jalen Johnson, you make sure Trae Young's in there. 60% hit rate, so something I thought about, but again, not too excited about that one. The one that I'm really liking for the Hawks, finally, is going to be Caris LeVert here at 12.5 points. Now, you're going to see the hit rate, 58% hit rate, and you're also going to see the minutes. That's what we're going to focus on. Project for 26 minutes. I could see him playing 30-plus minutes. I could see him playing 22 minutes. That's kind of where I'm going to be looking at here. 22 to 30 minutes, give it 4 minutes on each side of the projection. And then we're going to see a decent hit rate of around 60 or something percent, 51%. But then you got to realize he's on a different team now. He's going to be playing with Trae Young. He's going to be playing with Dyson Daniels, all these guys. Now it looks like a 64% hit rate. The next thing I'll look at is he's got a tough matchup to score, but a lot of people have a tough matchup to score in this one. The Heaters have a good defense overall. He's played these guys head-to-head twice while he's been on the Atlanta Hawks. He went over in both these games. He also played them twice on the Cleveland Cavaliers. He went over this line in both those games as well. So he's got a good history against this team. The minutes should be there. I think 22 is very conservative. He could get 30-plus minutes, especially if Risa Shea is struggling a bit and it's in a tough defensive matchup. And these are games with Trae Young. So the scoring has been there. Trae Young might get locked up. He might be the focal point of the defense, which might lead to more open shots to guys like Caris LeVert, who can score the ball, and they might lead on him to score the ball a little bit more. You look around this roster, Onyeka Okongwu, okay, good big man down low, not like an elite scorer. Dyson Daniels, way more of a defensive player. Risa Shea, a young guy in this league. Niang, a good defensive player, annoying player. So you're going to look at Caris LeVert to be maybe one of the main scorers in this matchup, which is why I really like this one. Defensive ratings, importantly, in games they might rely on a veteran scorer like this a little bit more. This is a 9th rated defense overall, maybe even better the last 15 days. So taking out like the weak defenses in the league, with all these up, he's over this in 66% of the game. So it's not like he's like struggling against these tough defenses. So I like Caris LeVert in this one. You could match that up with fading a guy like Zachary Ricochet. You talk about his minutes. He's not going to get more than 30 minutes. I don't expect. Did get 29 minutes in the last game. that was a blowout situation, but he was kind of on the court for the end of that game anyway. If he's not going to get more than 30 minutes here, I don't expect him to lose that much time, but like let's say 20 to 30 minutes for him. Over this in 55% of games, but then you talk about the offensive rating for the defensive rating for this team. You take out those top, bottom 10 teams. He's only over this in 41% of those games. If he's going to be losing some minutes to Caris LeVert or maybe losing some shots to Caris LeVert, could be an okay look here to look at the under for Risacher and the over for Caris LeVert. Just something to think about here if you don't trust a guy like Risacher. Georges Niang, nothing I'm too crazy about. He might get the minutes. If you can bet on minutes, that might be something I want to look at here. And then for some of these other guys, Mo Gay, I just don't ever read on. He's so hit or miss. And he actually played pretty well in the last games, and they might lean on him a little bit more. He was pretty good defensively as well. Then we got Terrence Mann, Barlow. I don't know if these guys are going to play overall or how much they are. It's probably going to depend on how close this game stays. So that's the Atlanta Hawks side of things. Now let's talk about some Miami Heat players. We'll start with Tyler Hero because I do like his points and assists line here. The main thing I'll point to is, first of all, this is what he's been doing the last few games. Head-to-head, he's gone over in 3 of the 4 matchups against the Atlanta Hawks. Some of these games he's having big assist games. Some of these games he's having big scoring games. So again, I really like the points and assists. You could look at rebounds as well. I think it's a little bit more hit or miss and a little bit more volatile here. I really just like the points and assists. If they start cutting him off in the pick and roll, he might have to assist a little bit more. If they start trying to, lock down those spot-up shooters, then Tyler Hero might cook in that pick and roll and score the ball a lot, but he's going to get a lot of volume regardless of this one. So head-to-head, obviously looking pretty good. Recently, obviously looking pretty good. Expected for a ton of minutes in this game, so project for 38. I'm going to say I don't think he sees anything less than 36 minutes. Now he's over this in 62% of games. You talk about the pick and roll ball handling matchup here. Very weak, 24th ranked. Really, any way he scores the ball. Pretty weak defense overall. You see the way he gets assists. Right interiorly, 33% of his assists come there. They rank 26th there, so it's a weak matchup for him to score, weak matchup for him to get some assists. And again, if you think about the game, they're going to try to lock up one of those things potentially, and he's going to kill him on the other side. So I think he's going to be able to score the ball. You can chip him with some assists. I really like what I'm seeing here. Some more advanced filters, talking about the dominant player type, that pick and roll ball handling. We can knock out the bottom half of the league pretty much, the top half of the league. We're seeing a 54% hit rate with that many minutes on the court. But again, we want to see games that he's playing, without Jimmy Butler, games with Bam Adebayo, games even with Andrew Wiggins. And now he's over this in 62.5% of those games. And the couple games he missed, 12-point loss to the Celtics, loss to the Rockets, a very good defensive team. And then the Bulls, maybe an off game, 42% from the field. Maybe we saw, an Andrew Wiggins or a Jimmy or a Bam Adebayo game in that one. But he's got a great matchup to do that. And a lot of these games he's crushing this line. So Tyler Hero, my main guy here, points and assists is going to be the line. And I'm liking that one at 30.5. Moving into Bam Adebayo here, his line's at 19.5. His assists is at 3.5 juice. Rebounds sitting at 10.5 for plus money. He's someone I'm not going to at all today. You see the head-to-head matchups, obviously not going over in any of these points. He's crept over in one of these games. But really with Andrew Wiggins in the lineup, I just can't really trust what Bam Adebayo can do. Now, again, he's going to play a ton of minutes. It's hard to fade a guy like that. But here's games with Andrew Wiggins in terms of his scoring, in terms of his rebounding. Just none of the stats are there as much as they were in the beginning of the year, potentially. But if he's going to play that much time in the court, it's hard to fade a guy like that. I'd lean towards his unders in terms of scoring. That's probably the way I'd play it. 19.5, he's probably going to get a ton of shots taken from Wiggins and Tyler Hero. But at the same time, if he's really cooking down low, you could see Bam be a little bit more aggressive. This is playoff time, do or die. Win or go home, and Bam is one of the most tried and true players on this team. So that's my thoughts on Bam Adebayo. Moving into Andrew Wiggins, his line's also at 19.5. He's projected to play a lot of minutes. This scared me a little bit, his minutes when he came back from injury against the Chicago Bulls, against the Pelicans. He didn't play very well, didn't play very much, but did get 35 minutes against the Bulls. I expect something similar to that today. He also shot 20 times in that game. If he's going to play with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo in the lineup, he's over this in 52% of games. If we're going to give him that much time in the court, right now he's projected for probably around 33 minutes again, if I'm going to the wrong team. Probably around 34 projected minutes as of right now. If we're going to give him 32 plus minutes in this game, which I probably expect, he's over a scoring line in 7 of those 10 games. So someone I'm interested in just because he's got a very weak matchup as well. People are going to score on this team. 70% of similar players are going over this against this Atlanta Hawks defense. And then head-to-head, he's played these guys twice, had 23 and 36 minutes, and also had 16 in the time in the court. You look at the assists, nothing too crazy. You look at the rebounds, nothing too crazy. That's kind of why I'm focusing on the points here. 3-pointers is also something I considered, but super juiced. Could be a parlay piece. But Andrew Wiggins points, also something to look at. It's just tough to go to like a bunch of Heat players overs in one game. But Andrew Wiggins, another guy that I wouldn't mind if you find some value on his points. Moving on to Davion Mitchell, another guy I really like. I liked him in the matchup last against the who'd they play? The Bulls, and he crushed his line, 15 points, didn't miss a shot, also chipped in with 9 assists. I'm going to be looking at his points and assist line. I believe it's 16.5. He's been going over this line a whole lot. He's projected for a ton of minutes in this game. I think we're going to see every bit of 30-plus minutes. And again, he's playing on a different team now. We're going to be playing with Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo, even Andrew Wiggins in here. He's over this line in 8 of 12 games. He's played these guys twice in those games with all these guys on the court. 22 points and assists, 16 and 6. And then he also had 20 and 6. And look how efficient he was. And, he just came off a 5 for 5 game. Maybe some aggression coming, but he also has 7 and 8 game from this team. 6 of 12 games. He's a very efficient player. And like I've said multiple times in this video, Eric Spoelstra loves guys like this. He's defensive-minded. He's going to be, following Trae Young all over the court. Hopefully he doesn't get into foul trouble, but he can also, score some points and do stuff with the offensive end as well. So Davion Mitchell, points and assists, definitely something I'm interested in, especially with the time he's getting in the court. Now, a couple guys have been ruled in. So Jovic, I think, just got ruled in or ready to play. Probable tag. He could be coming in, getting some minutes from some of these guys. I don't think Davion Mitchell's minutes are going to be affected, but just keep that in mind for guys like Kyle Anderson, Duncan Robinson. Jovic, pretty good player. He is coming off a broken hand, so maybe he doesn't even play in this game, but just keep that in mind for some of these bench guys, and that's also why I'm going to kind of skip over some of these bench guys. Duncan Robinson could obviously get hot and score some points. One of these games with all these guys in the lineup, played 30 minutes, 24 points in that game as well. That was back in February. So Duncan Robinson, definitely, you look at the way he scores the points above the break threes, spot up. They're weak to that, so Duncan Robinson, if he gets hot, comes in here, knocks down his first 2 threes. I think he could probably get over his 6.5 points line. But at the same time, hard to trust a guy that you don't know where his minutes are going to lie. So that's the Miami Heat and the Atlanta Hawks. Talked about a million different plays and pretty much different people, but hopefully you got a gist of who I'm liking, who I might potentially fading, and for the reasons why. So again, I'll do the recap at the end of this. But for now, let's move into the next game, Dallas versus Memphis. And this should be a good one. Hopefully, I think both these games are going to be a lot of fun on a Friday night to bet on, have some fun watching. But yeah, let's talk about some injury news. So AD is going to be the game time decision for the Dallas Mavericks. Also Brandon Williams. They're both probable. They're both pretty ready to go. I fully assume they're going to play. On the Memphis side of things, Ja Morant is a game time decision. Full game time decision here. True game time decision, but I do expect him to go out there and play. This is do or die. I assume Memphis wants to be in the playoff potentially, and they're favorites here. They want their star player to be in there. PJ Washington, Anthony Davis projected for a lot of minutes, 37 and 36 minutes in this one. Klay Thompson had a pretty good game last time in the play-in tournament, projected for 31 minutes here. Najee Marshall up at 29, and then some bench guys. Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively are going to split minutes at that center position, most likely, unless one of them gets in foul trouble or something like that early. Then we got Brandon Williams, Max Christie, someone I'm considering fading because I was excited about his matchup last time. He had a great matchup in the play-in tournament. Did not play much and did not play very well in the time on the court. Caleb Martin at 14 minutes could be something interesting. His playoff experience type guy could come in here, give some crucial minutes. But of course, the top heaviness of the starting lineup with PJ Washington, AD, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall. There's definitely some room for guys to chip in there off the bench as well, though. Memphis side of things, we got Ja Morant being game time decision, but expected to play 35 plus minutes in this one. Jaren Jackson and Desmond Bane projected for as much time as they can handle, pretty much. Zach Edey is projected for 32 minutes in this one. I think he's got a better matchup here in terms of the amount of centers he's got going up against. AD, Derek Lively, Gafford, none of those guys really want to get out of the paint, so maybe a little bit more comfortable position for Zach Edey to play a lot of minutes. But at the same time, I thought that he wouldn't play a ton of minutes against the Warriors, and he played a ton of minutes, even though Jimmy Butler just kept going right at him, and I didn't really know why. But Scottie Pippen was also projected for 30-plus minutes. Santi Aldama, definitely someone I'm always interested in, just because he's a firecracker off the bench, very good offensively. He just really struggles on defense, so we'll see what happens with him. Luke Kennard, another guy that could shoot his way into more minutes. And then Conchar and Vince Williams, both projected for only 10 minutes, and expect them probably not to play too much more than that. All right, so jumping into some actual players here, we'll start with the Grizzlies side of things and Ja Morant. His line's jumping around 26.5, 25.5 is still available. I look at this Dallas team and say really like who can stop him. Obviously, interiorly they're going to be pretty big, and he scores a lot of his points interiorly. But the only problem here is the numbers that we're seeing here is going to be pretty skewed, just because we don't have a lot of history with AD, with Derek Lively, with Gafford all in the lineup, and obviously those are big players, especially offensively but defensively as well here. So John Morant, just looking again at who they got starting on the other side of the court. Klay Thompson, is he going to stop him? Is Najee Marshall going to stop him? Is Brandon Williams going to come off the bench and be that spark like he was last time and slow down John Morant? If he's getting stuffed at the rim by AD and Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford when he's in there, potentially. PJ Washington, pretty good defender. But John Morant might be like really good in terms of scoring the ball tonight. His rebounds and assist line is something that he's not been hitting as much recently. He's been shooting a lot of shots recently. And this could be a John Morant type of game. I don't think I'm going to get to anyone. I don't know if I'm going to get to any star. I'm just looking at the matchup and saying who's going to stop John Morant. They're weak interiorly. Look at the last 15 games as well. They're even weaker. So even with AD and all those guys down low, maybe John Morant can have his way at the rim here, and he's been knocking down some threes as well. Now, is he going to be the focal point of the offense? That's where it gets a little bit harder to understand if they're really going to lock in on John Morant, send doubles at him a million times. Then you got to look at a guy like Desmond Bane. So as of right now, it makes sense that John Morant could score a lot of points today, but potentially, they might lock him down or at least focus on him more, and then you get a guy like Desmond Bane. The good thing about Desmond Bane I like to see is, none of these guys are going to have pretty good matchups overall. Isolation is the only thing they're pretty weak to, and again, that's kind of more of a John Morant thing. But down low, above the break threes, they're pretty good at a lot of these defenses. But similar types of players to a guy like Desmond Bane have been going over their lines pretty well. Head-to-head, you can see he did have 27 points against them and 19 points in the December matchup against them. Didn't shoot a ton of times in that game either, but still got 19 points. 24 in their most recent one. I guess while I'm talking about head-to-head, I should also mention that John Morant did go over his points line in both the matchups. But again, December and March, kind of a decent amount of time ago. New coach and all those different things. But the thing I was getting about for Desmond Bane is he's going to get a ton of time in the court. No one's got a particularly amazing matchup here. And if they do hone in on John Morant, maybe you want to get a little bit now and on John Morant scoring some points, but also Desmond Bane scoring some points and really getting some rebounds in this matchup as well. So going into the minutes, he's projected for 1 million minutes, 38 minutes. If he's going to get 36 plus minutes, we look at his points and rebounds hit rate, 81.3% of the time he's going over this line. Head to head, again, he did play this team once before. He had 27 points and he had 16 rebounds in that one. That's obviously why I'm including the rebounds here. But yeah, he had a ton of rebounding opportunities. You got a lot of big men here boxing each other out. Some of those long threes just bounced right to a smaller guy, and Desmond Bane was obviously attacking the boards in that matchup. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr. wasn't in there, but he's also not a very good rebounder in general as a big man. So Desmond Bane, definitely someone I'm considering in terms of his points and rebounds, especially if I talk myself into thinking, okay, the Mavs are got to stop John Morant somehow, and they might really just focus in on him. But Desmond Bane, points and rebounds, also something I'm considering. Jaren Jackson Jr., a little bit more hit or miss guy. He's right around his points line a lot. Doesn't have a particularly amazing matchup. Now, he could draw some of these big men out of the paint, like a AD or a Gafford or a Lively, make him a little bit more uncomfortable. But AD is pretty versatile. You got Najee Marshall, who's pretty versatile. Maybe he sees even PJ Washington on their side of the court as well. So I'm not really excited about Jaren Jackson Jr. I'll never trust his rebounding. He's the tallest guy. Not the tallest guy, but I'm saying in terms of his height, he's like one of the worst rebounders I've ever seen at his height. So I'll never trust his rebounding. And then his assist line at 1.5, juiced at minus 151 or minus 154. Sure, but very hit or miss even at that number. Moving along to Scottie Pippen Jr., because he's someone I'm actually pretty excited about. 10.5 points. You can actually find this at normal payouts, I'm pretty sure. I guess 11.5. 10.5 or 11.5, you want to pay the juice, or even just get the 11.5. Either way, I think he's in a pretty good spot here. He played pretty well in a lot of minutes last game against the Warriors, 34 plus minutes. You talk about people that he's matched up against on the other side. It's nothing too crazy, so he should have a lot of energy on the other side of the court. He's a very good defensive player, but again, the guards on the other side of the court aren't something amazing. He's going to be able to run around and chase all the time. Klay Thompson might do a lot of off-ball movement and stuff, and Najee Marshall a little bit bigger, but at the same time, Scottie Pippen could save his energy for more of the offensive game here. What I'm getting at is he's projected for 31 plus minutes in this game. If he's going to get 28 plus minutes, He's over this line in 14 of 18. His PRA line is actually an 83% hit rate. Now, what scares me a little bit is the last two games they've really needed to win are, the games he's missing here, but very, very close. And, in terms of the matchup defensively, it's a very, very mediocre one. He does do a lot of his, scoring in the paint. So we could see a little bit from Scottie Pippen Jr. PRA 20.5. Points line is also something I'm interested in. If you want to just go to his rebounds, just time on the court, that could be something to look at as well. If I had to choose like one prop for Scottie Pippen Jr., though, I think I'd put together his points and assists. It lines at 15.5. These are his minutes. This is without Jalen Wells in the lineup after him going down with that scary injury. This is with Ja, with Jackson, with Desmond Bane all in the lineup. He's over in 2 of 3 games. And again, we saw the hit rate when what he can do in the minutes that he's on the court. And I think 15.5 is a pretty good line for him. And I think he can do some damage here with the extended time. And then quickly touching on Zach Edey here. Obviously, his rebounds has been really, really good. He's projected for a ton of minutes in this game. And he's actually probably got a pretty good matchup. He doesn't have to get taken out of the paint, get uncomfortable with some shooter. It's most typically going to be AD, Gafford, or Lively out there. So AD, not someone that's going to super spread the floor. Obviously can knock down that three-pointer, but not somebody you have to chase around. And most likely he'll be with Derek Lively or Gafford, who aren't going to spread the floor really at all. So getting some rebounds, staying down low could absolutely be an issue. Could be a good thing for Zach Edey today. And then in terms of his scoring, the hit rate on this line isn't amazing, but at the same time, he's got a really good matchup to score some points interiorly, put back, post up. The only thing is the skewed data here, just because we don't have a lot of information with AD and those other big guys on the court for the Mavericks. But Zach Edey, in terms of the matchup, does look pretty good overall. But maybe I'd just go to his rebounds here if you want to go to Zach Edey. I'm not sure if I'm going to fully get there or not. Santi Aldama is another guy I just want to touch on really quick. It's just because he's a really good offensive player, but a very bad defensive player. If he's going to get taken advantage of by AD or one of the big men down low, we could see him, kind of get played off the court. But at the same time, if he's knocking down threes and being, better offensively than he is worse at defense, then we could see him on the court here. Not an amazing matchup, spot up, very mediocre. Similar types of players haven't been going over their lines recently against them. You see the head-to-head, kind of a 50-50 one. Assists and rebounds, nothing really too crazy that I'm liking here. I just don't really know if I can trust Santi Aldama's minutes on the court today. You can see projected for 27 right now. That's probably exactly what he'll get. But yeah, nothing I'm too excited about for him. Then some of these bench guys, I will probably pass on. Again, going to be hit or miss depending on how they're shooting and how many minutes they're going to end up actually playing. And then moving along to the Mavs side of things, I'm going to actually start with Brandon Williams just because how much of a spark he was off the bench for them. He'd been playing a decent amount of minutes. Now they're on a downward trend, but he played really, really well in that first play-in game. Was a big part of that, the lead they had ballooning and becoming, over too big to overcome. He only played 18 minutes, had 17 points in those 18 minutes on 5 of 8 shooting, chipping with 5 assists as well. And again, this is the hit rate for what he's been doing since Kyrie went out. Some of these games earlier did not play much, but they realized what they had with this guy. I don't even think he's had a full contract in the NBA yet. They might have had to sign him for the playoffs here, but he's looking to play himself in a rotation. He's playing with a lot of energy, and he's playing really well, especially, again, that last game we saw him. Now, you see the most recent game was against the Memphis Grizzlies. That was a game he got hurt, so I don't know if this is going to be, the floor for him at 18 minutes plus, but I don't expect him to see 7 minutes here. He is projected for only 17 minutes in this one, or 19 minutes now, so I think it is trending upwards. But if we're going to see, without Kyrie Irving, and we're going to get, 16 plus minutes, 17 plus minutes from him, this is a hit rate on the PRA. So I do like what I saw from him. He was very much a catalyst off the bench. They got a lot of other offensive threats to worry about. Klay Thompson getting hot, AD, all the big man rolling to the basket. Brandon Williams could be a very good spark plug off the bench, and we've seen him do it time and time again. Then you talk about the way he scores the points, transition, spot up, free throws, all very, very weak for a guy like Brandon Williams to score some points. Similar types of players, or at least positionally. See only 53% hit rate, but recently a lot of guys going over their lines in terms of the position here. So Brandon Williams, one of the guards that could come in and actually play some minutes here. Really liking his PRA at 12.5. And then talking about some guys that are going to get some big minutes today, AD is probably going to get as many minutes as he can handle. He has not been hitting this line a lot, but I do like to see 27 points on 23 shots last game. That was a play-in game. That's really the only time he's played a whole bunch of minutes on the Mavericks here, and he's projected to get around the same amount of time or even more if you can handle it today. Now the matchup, I do like this. He played these guys back in December. This was when he was on the Lakers. Edey played 24 minutes in that game. Jaren Jackson Jr. was also there, and he ate them alive. 15 of 22, didn't miss many shots, got to the free throw line. We could expect something similar to that today. I don't know if he's going to drop 40, but I do really like his potential to score some points. Also, someone's going to grab a whole lot of rebounds today. I don't know if it's going to be AD or if it's going to be one of the centers like a Lively or a Gafford, but AD could also be in a good situation to grab some rebounds here. So like points and rebounds, the line's going to be at 38.5. Obviously, the hit rate on this recently does not look amazing, but if you're going to give him 35 plus minutes, 34 plus minutes on the court, 62% hit rate, that could be something interesting. Look at the way he scores the points. Pick and roll big man, 23rd ranked there. Free throws, 29 ranked there. It's not the worst matchup in the world, and he already dropped 40 on these guys once. So AD wants Mavs fans to be happy about something. Give him a good game here, 38.5 points and rebounds. Can he get some assists too here? I don't love the assist matchup, but potentially maybe just go to his PRA, 55% hit rate on that. Points line's at 51% hit rate. So I think points and rebounds might be the best move here. He could absolutely dominate, I think, and that's something I'm just maybe playing from the gut here. But I do think AD could have a good game. But he's also broke my heart many times throughout the season. PJ Washington, though, is probably going to be the official video pick. Points and rebounds at 22.5. Really like what I'm seeing here. Obviously, he's not been getting there recently, but he's going to get a whole bunch of time in the court. He's going to get 30, as many minutes as you can handle. You see the projected minutes for him here, projected for 37. That's exactly what he got against the Kings. They won that game pretty handily as well. So if we're going to see 35 plus minutes from PJ Washington, now you start looking at the hit rate. Oh, what about down here? Well, yeah, we got no Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving anymore. Take away both these guys, you see what he's been able to do. 8 of 9 games, absolutely crushing this line. And then you see the matchup he's got going on. Spot up, transition, free throws, pick and roll ball handling. Every single way he scores the points, you got a pretty much a green matchup or a very yellow matchup here. So that's what we're looking at for PJ Washington's points and rebounds. I don't know if I play both these guys at the same slip, but at the same time, because they're both points and rebounds lines, but at the same time, I do think both these guys have one of the better matchups to go over their points lines. Klay Thompson, also a pretty good spot to score some points. Now, similar types of players to him, very similar types of players, not going over their lines very often at all. Above the break threes, they are pretty susceptible to giving up, but at the same time, Klay Thompson, I don't know if I can trust this dude. He scored 23 points last game, sure, had an absolute hot quarter. I think he hit like 4 threes in one quarter, and he didn't miss many shots, but at the same time, he can have games like this where he shoots 3 of 8, 2 of 8, and just completely disappears. Now, is this playoff Klay? I doubt it. Is he going to get like absolutely torched by John Morant in pick and roll actions if he's actually going to be guarding him at all? Probably. So 13.5 points. I don't know if I'm taking the under, but I'm probably more inclined to take the under than the over. You could look at a PRA of 19.5. Again, sure, he had a great game last time. We're getting inflated stats. Similar types of players not doing that against this team. So transition, spot up, above the break threes all look really good. But at the same time, Klay Thompson has to go out there and shoot a decent percentage to actually hit this line. So Klay, maybe someone I try to fade. Another guy that I faded in the past, and he's burned me though. So probably staying away from Klay. He can do his thing tonight. Najee Marshall, another guy that played a decent amount of minutes last game, 29 minutes. One of those guys that's kind of stepped into a bigger role since all these injuries happened. You kind of think once AD came back, once the big man came back, his minutes would start to drop, but that's not exactly what happened. We did see a little bit of a trajectory drop and kind of right around that 27, 28 minute mark. What would be going on? Head-to-head, he has had 2 big games against these guys. Played 40 minutes in one of those games, 33 minutes, and then 28 minutes. So they do like him in this matchup. He's also got one of those great matchups to score the points. So kind of like a Klay Thompson, maybe a little bit more versatile defensively at this point in his career. I'm not talking about prime Klay Thompson. Spot up, transition, free throws, pick and roll ball handling. That's kind of the way he's been scoring his points. But again, similarly, kind of like Klay Thompson, similar types of players not really going over their scoring lines. You could talk about assists and rebounds. I keep thinking I'm skipping over these. It might be another points and rebounds look, but again, I don't want 3 guys on the same team going to their points and rebounds line. But Najee Marshall has been pretty good. Someone I'm probably not going to be looking at here. And then quickly touching on Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively here. They've played 4 games together with AD on the court here. And Daniel Gafford does get the edge in terms of minutes so far, 21 minutes, 20, 15, and 20 minutes, as opposed to Derek Lively's 18, 15, and 16 minutes. Now, he is coming back from injury a little bit more recently, but at the same time, looks like Daniel Gafford is getting the nod, and he's getting his scoring points a little bit more consistently 8.5 for plus money is definitely something I might consider. I don't want to take a million overs for the Dallas Mavericks, though, in this game. And again, he doesn't have the most amazing matchup in the world. He did just score 20 points against these guys very recently. That was in 19 minutes. He scored 20 points. That was an April 13th matchup. You'd have to see if Jaren Jackson Jr. played, which I doubt he did play in that game. The 13th, yeah, he did not play in that game. Did Zach Edey play in that game? I do think he didn't play in that game either, so he was obviously dealing with a different type of team. So for the two centers on the Mavs, they're going to be splitting minutes. It's going to be hard to choose who's going to get the more minutes or who's going to have a better matchup. Neither of them have a really good matchup today, so probably going to fade them. We don't have a lot of history of them playing together either, especially with AD in the lineup, so not going to go to them. Max Christie, on the other hand, was going to be someone we fade, but his points line's at 3.5. So let's wrap this up. We talked about a ton of different plays. We really touched on almost every single player playing tonight. These are going to be the official video picks, but of course, if you just skip to the end, we talked about all these different players, their matchups, and what I'm kind of thinking about them. So there's other plays in there that I think you could find where I'm leaning. And that doesn't mean those official plays, but those are things that I'm actually thinking. Here are the official picks, though. Karis LeVert over 12.5 points. Tyler Hero over 30.5 points and assists. Brandon Williams over 12.5 PRA. And Desmond Bane over 5.5 rebounds. When we talked about Desmond Bane, we talked about his points and rebounds, but I found the 5.5 rebounds at minus 122, so absolutely jumped on that. If it starts getting boosted up, if it's getting like really juiced, like minus 140, you could take it there. I'd honestly probably just go to the plus money at the 6.5 line. Or if you're playing on a DFS platform like PrizePicks or Underdog or Betr or whatever those places are, and they have it at 6.0, I would absolutely take it there. Worst case scenario, we hit and you push. But I think Desmond Bane in a really good spot to get some rebounds, especially considering he got 16 rebounds against these guys last time they played. So could even be a ladder opportunity here. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. Long-winded video, but hopefully you guys got some sort of value out of it. If you did, definitely go ahead and leave that video a like. Comment something down below if you got an extra second or two. And of course, subscribe if you are new. We're going to be doing this all throughout the playoffs. Going to be talking WNBA throughout this summer, and we will be doing MLB content. If you want to get access to all my plays and just a really fun community with a bunch of other people sharing their slips as well, definitely check out the links in the description down below. You can join our Discord community. One of the cheapest out there. It's $20 a month, but also there's plenty of different ways to get in for free. You can just keep signing up using my codes to, if you're not on PrizePicks, if you're not on Underdog has like a free square going on today, and they give us boosts all the time. Betr is one of the best platforms to bet on for DFS. They give discounts every day. Dabble, all these different types of platforms that I'm partnered up with. I have a specific code. If you use that code, again, links in the description down below. Just let me know in the comment section or join the free part of the Discord and just say, hey, Rich, I used your code. Can I get in for free? I'll send you a DM and I'll get you guys that access. So plenty of different ways to get in for free. You can get multiple months for free as well. It does support me and help support the channel. But yeah, that's how you get in for free. So read the description down below. I can try to say it as much as I can, but it's easier just to read it. It's all described down there in a step-by-step process. So hopefully you guys had some, got some value out of this. Hopefully you guys have a good night betting. Good luck with all your bets. Have some fun out there. It's Friday night. We got some good basketball. I can't really complain about that. Hopefully we bring some winners. Go 4-0 will be awesome. And yeah, I'll be back here to talk some more basketball in the next coming days. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.